Happy 2021. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I am excited for my next guest. He is back talking to us about loss. Everybody has these resolutions about a new year, a new you, a new look. And so we are going to dive into that topic today. So we want to thank you for joining us in Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. So our guest today is Metelish, and he is going to talk to us about how we can implement some strategies to be a little bit more successful when it comes to weight loss. We're going to dive into how we can tackle that this morning. So at this time, I'm going to give Metelish the opportunity to introduce himself before we get into the interview.
Hello, everyone, and wish you all a very happy New Year. Well, New Year resolutions, I really love those because I know I have been able to follow those resolutions, but most people are not able to do those resolutions. Being able to, follow them, being able to fulfill them, the biggest challenge people face. And the funny aspect is, out of let's say 100 people who set a new year resolution, almost 50 the resolution is common, and that is to lose weight or exercise or have get into a fitter body. That's the most common new year resolution that I have come across. Probably you are also aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the biggest challenge. People make resolutions and then they are not able to do anything about it. They just begin doing something about it and then they quit. Now, that's a huge challenge. The challenge is about being able to perform. And that's what my profession is. I am a performance coach and I coach people to perform consistently. I coach people to get into a peak state of mind, to get into performing really good, being able to give their best on the required day. So that's typically required in sports situations. So that's one aspect of work. I coach them to get into a peak state of mind so that they are able to perform their best. They are able to give their best on the day, on the competitive day, in a competitive situation. So that's one aspect of performance. And I'll not get into detailing of many aspects of performance, but let's just get focused on weight loss and resolution to lose weight. So there are many reasons for weight. I'll be asking a few questions and I'll make you think. Now that's what my job is as a coach, to make you think and rather make you think differently. Give your thoughts a very specific direction. So giving the thought a direction is called yoga. Like everyone talks of yoga and everyone is passionate about doing yoga, and yoga is considered to be getting into some postures and holding on to postures.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just one very small aspect of yoga. Yoga is a way of living. And one definition of yoga is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. I mean that's in Sanskrit language, because the definition comes in Sanskrit language. But what this means is yoga is to give your thoughts a definite direction using knowledge as the tool. Now that is what yoga is. It's a way of living.
Love that. I mean,
There
that
is
is,
another definition.
yeah.
There is another definition of yoga. It says yoga karma kaushalam. Yoga karma kaushalam. So karma is action, the action that you do, and you need the kaushal. Kaushal is the skill that you need to take a specific action, and consistently striving to improve your skill and ability to take the action is called yoga.
Mm.
So these are two very profound definitions of yoga, which which I think people need to execute daily
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect of life. So yoga is a way of living. It's not about attaining a few postures. For me, a yoga practitioner is who consistently strives to become better. That's yoga. For me, yoga practitioner is someone who is able to divert his thoughts, give a precise, proper direction to the thoughts using knowledge as a tool. So, knowledge is something, I mean, there are many myths, many misunderstandings like knowledge and learning. People don't understand the difference between two. You know everything about losing weight,
Mhm.
isn't it? All the people around the world who are overweight, who are obese, who are fat, they know everything about losing weight.
Mhm.
But knowledge does not bring execution.
Mm.
There's a huge difference between knowledge and learning. You execute only that you have learned. So there is a huge difference, a big gap.
I love that.
If I quote Socrates, he gave a wonderful definition.
Mhm.
What he said is execution is recall.
Mm.
You don't recall what you know, you recall what you have learned. Now that is a
Mhm.
big difference between knowing and learning. That's
I
that's
love
what precisely my area of work is. I ensure that people learn better. That is why they are able to execute better, and that's where performance comes from. It
Mhm.
is, I mean, knowledge has got nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing. If I quote, if I quote Albert Einstein, he used to always say, "My mind is not a garbage can to remember things." That's
Mm.
knowledge. So that's what Einstein used to talk of knowledge.
Yeah,
And using your mind as a garbage can, that is excessive knowledge. And that's what people are doing today.
I love
Everyone
that.
is focused on YouTube, reading blogs, continuously keep on gaining more and more and more and more and more in terms of knowledge. Now, for me, that's like what people do in terms of overeating,
Mhm.
and you become obese. You keep
That.
on gaining knowledge and knowledge and knowledge, and there is no execution. That's where you get frustrated.
Mhm.
It's the same.
Mhm. Now, and so, I
Consuming.
mean, this is some good stuff. I mean, I've got like a page full of notes already from what you said. So, what do you think the issue is with gaining the knowledge? I think we all have the access to so much information, but what really is the logic behind, because you say, well, I want to lose weight but I don't really know what diet, or they ask you your body type, or what are your habits, and so as you go into the rabbit hole of thinking, I just want to learn a little bit about this and kind of figure it out. um, what kind of pushes you over the edge to where you keep on acquiring that knowledge and you don't get to the point of execution? So what is it that we're doing wrong with that?
See, the only thing that stops from execution is a mindset.
Mm, okay.
So the gap between knowledge and execution
Hmm.
can be filled only by getting into the right mindset. That's the missing link in totality. And people, I mean, see, when I work with my clients on weight loss, I always tell them you should not force yourself to not eat specific foods.
Okay.
Rather, I coach them to get into a very specific mindset where they don't like eating specific foods. So now it's about force versus power. They start exercising their power and their control over food rather than they force themselves to not eat something specific.
Mm,
That's a huge difference. So when you force yourself to not eat some specific foods, you are actually struggling with food.
mm,
And when you use your power and when you exercise your power and take control of things, that is where you have control over food.
mhm.
So struggling with food is weight gain. Control with food is weight control.
Mm.
Why do people blow up like balloons? They just bounce back after they stop the diet. Because the struggle is on. They have not achieved control over food. They are still struggling with food. The prime
Mhm.
reason people bounce back, it's a mindset.
Mhm.
If they achieve that state of mind where they have control over food, rather food controlling them, I mean,
Mhm.
the food is controlling them, that is why they bounce back. Once
Mm.
they achieve that control over food, like it's a choice for them to exercise. They have that freedom to either eat it or not eat it. They don't have to force themselves to do that.
Mhm.
Now that's where they have control over food. Their relationship with food is functional.
Mhm. That is so good, and I think you know, uh, doing the research also. I think maybe with that to kind of conform your mindset. For example, being able to see that food is for energy or nutrition and understanding the things that some of these processed foods and things that don't serve you, knowing what they do to your body while you're in that mindset can kind of help you because when you think about, oh, I would like a cookie, you're thinking, do I want this sugar? Do I want this to start blocking whatever? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
is it sometimes that we're not doing the right kind of research also? Because, when you begin to get into the dynamics of why you should eat certain things and what, like an antioxidant, for example, as opposed to some sugar and understanding what that kind of transfers to when you eat it and energy and things like that. How do we get to the point where we do the right kind of research about that?
See, mm, what is to be understood is something very simple. Uh, there is there are real foods, and then there are processed foods.
Mhm.
For me, processed food is the big reason for weight gain. You eat real food. The challenge is people now they don't want to cook. That's the biggest challenge that people face. You cook and you eat real food. You eat fresh food. I mean, it's more of lifestyle. I mean, when you're talking of this aspect, then more of mindset. People want fast food. People people think from a state of mind where they believe that they don't have time. They can very easily organize themselves and invest 15-20 minutes, half an hour in cooking food, and then eat. It's all about organizing.
Mhm.
But the challenge here is people come from that way of thinking that they don't have time,
Mhm.
and at times there is a big struggle between husband and wife who's gonna cook, and then no one cooks,
Mhm.
and
So
and eventually like they go to the processed foods.
mhm.
The prime reason for weight is processed food. And processed foods, I mean, I tell you one thing, uh, YouTube is full of videos. You can go to it. YouTube is full of videos. There was a video I was watching a few days back. It's the title is Psychology of Overeating.
Mm.
You Google for, I mean, you go to YouTube and search for psychology for overeating. You will find some wonderful videos.
Mhm.
Some very research based videos.
Mhm.
And these are people who are researchers and who are neuroscientists, this type of people, and they study the brain and food, like correlation, and what parts of brains get triggered with what type of food, and how addiction happens, food addictions.
Mm.
So at the end of the video, the last statement is going to be this: eat real foods and stop eating processed foods, because processed foods will result in addiction. Real foods will never result in addiction.
Mm.
So eat real foods.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And, one of the things that kind of came to me, it was probably a few weeks ago. I
Okay.
was working and it got to be late. And I said, let me go in here and grab something to eat. And I turned on the tea kettle to make some oatmeal. And it was like around 6 o'clock. And
Okay.
I just had this thought. It was like, if you're going to eat real healthy food, why do we time bound our type of eating? So like oatmeal is a healthy thing to eat. Why is it that I only associate oatmeal with breakfast when if it's a healthy food choice, I can eat it any time of the day, you know?
See, I mean that is what is being told to us by the media. We
Hmm.
go by the advertisements, and we go by the media. We don't go by logic.
Right.
So the advertisers know this, and they take the most advantage of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, it's a fact. We don't go by logic. We go by what we see in the media. We go by what the advertisers tell us to do,
Hmm.
because the advertisers have this wonderful knack of presenting this thing, whatever that they are promoting. They put it in such wonderful way that we just fall for it, and we
Hmm.
start believing it rather.
Hmm.
Eventually, when you get that oatmeal from the market, it's processed food.
Hmm.
It's not real food.
Hmm.
So if you listen to any of those neuroscientists who are actually working on food addiction and the brain response and how the brain is reacting to food addictions and stuff like that, they will conclude with this last line: eat real food, stop eating processed foods.
Hmm. Hmm. So
The
good.
challenge with people is don't want to cook, lose a lot of time in cooking, a struggle between the two spouses who's gonna cook,
Hmm.
and it's an easy way out. Get something and eat it.
Right. Hmm.
Eventually, that results in addiction.
Yeah. Now, so what
And
are some, I was going to say, like really knowing like what your habits are,
yeah,
because a lot of times, let's say that you have this routine on your way to work. You normally stop at McDonald's, get a coffee. Well, then you're there. Why don't I get a whatever kind of sausage or, something that they offer. So, what are some things that we can start doing, baby steps that can kind of remove some of those triggers, or what should be our mindset with that when it comes to trying to make a change?
right. See, there are a lot of lifestyle shifts which can be done easily.
Hmm.
You just require very small, little, simple steps to follow. Like, don't try to do it all at a time. It does not work that way. It's like I was working with this lady client. It was just today morning session. Like for me, it's evening 5:30 now in India. So it was a morning 10 session with me with a client. So we were working on getting into living an active life, like coming out of the inactive sedentary life and getting active, like going out for walks or getting doing some stretching or some exercise.
Hmm.
And she has a treadmill in her house. Now what I told her to do is something very simple. Like she has the treadmill for years and she never uses it. She
Hmm.
finds it so dull, so boring because her habits are very sedentary and very inactive life.
Hmm.
Now I told her to do something very simple, very simple. I just told her to think something that motivates her. Just think something that motivates her.
Hmm.
Get into a motivating state of mind. I mean that's for all. You can do this. It's really easy. and it will shift your mindset. Just think of something which really motivates you and you just kept doing it. Think of that thing and you get into that state of motivation. It's easy to achieve a state of mind. And
Mhm.
now when you get into that state of mind, think as if you are on the treadmill and you will feel motivated to go on a treadmill. It needs a few repetitions, that's all.
Mm.
And then I told her to set an alarm which rings on the mobile every hour, maybe every 1.5 hour. And the moment the alarm rings, what she does is nothing. Just do this mindset shift. Get on the treadmill for 3 minutes. Do it every hour. If she does it 10 times in a day, that's 30 minutes of treadmill.
Mhm. That's good.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is good. So we are just getting into that state of being motivated,
Yeah,
and whatever it is that we are trying to tackle, or empower ourselves with,
that's
we
true.
begin to think about that while we're in that state of mind,
That's
and
true.
then set a regular timer to
That's it.
keep that activity. And the key is doing it, in small doses of time till eventually we don't even need those triggers.
Yeah,
So it's like a reprogramming.
that's true. We are reprogramming ourselves by doing
Mhm.
this. So that's giving your thoughts a very specific direction.
Mm. Yeah.
That's what we did.
Mhm. Mhm.
A very specific directions given to the thoughts and feelings both to get going on the treadmill. It can be done
Mhm.
for any aspect.
Mhm.
It
I
can
love
be
it.
it can be done for eating real food. It can be
Mhm.
done to eat salads.
Mhm.
People force themselves to eat salads. Rather, they can motivate themselves to eat salad, and they eat salads, and they are in control.
Mhm.
Rather
Mhm.
struggling. I mean, they eat salad, still they remain the same. Why? Because they are struggling with that food. They are not enjoying it. For me,
Right.
food is something that is to be meant to be enjoyed.
Mhm. Mhm.
You enjoy food. I mean, to enjoy food, there are some aspects of food that you should be aware of. One, the smell, two, the taste, and three, the texture.
Mm. Mhm.
So this is where we are involving three of our senses. We have five senses, right?
Mhm.
The sight,
Mhm.
sound, smell, taste, touch. Out
Mhm.
of these five senses, we can involve three senses
Mhm.
while we chew the food.
Love that,
Taste,
Doctor.
you know, that's the sense of feeling. That
Mhm.
the taste, the smell, and the texture. Texture is that sense of feeling. Every food has a
Mhm.
texture.
Mhm.
So when you get into identifying the texture, it's like I am having a pizza, and and there are so many things in a pizza which makes a pizza. Like there is a pizza base, there is cheese, there are sausages, there are so many different toppings. Everything
Mhm.
has a different texture, different taste, and different smell.
Mm. Mhm.
So when I eat a pizza, that's how I eat it. It's called conscious eating. I get
Mhm.
into identifying every single texture and I enjoy every texture
Mhm.
till all the textures they melt down into one texture. And that's called conscious eating. I
Mhm.
tell my clients, I mean, eat pizza if you feel like having. It's
Mhm.
not forbidden food. Yes, it has a lot of processed things into it. We just be
Right.
aware of it.
Mhm.
But when you get into conscious eating and you start, I mean, see, it's not eating slowly. I don't tell my clients to eat slow. No, I mean, chewing more is very difficult. When you want to
Mhm.
eat, you need to chew more, but chewing more is difficult.
Mhm.
But getting into identifying textures is easy. When you get into identifying textures and enjoying those textures, you automatically eat slow.
Mm.
It's a better way of doing it. And that is where you enjoy. Recently, like I have a client in New York, I was working with her online, and
Mhm.
we went through this the conscious eating part, and the following week session, like she talked to me about two very specific foods which she takes very regularly. And after
Mhm.
getting into this habit of conscious eating, she realized that she actually does not like the texture of these two things that she continuously keeps on eating, and she stopped eating those two things. Now that's control over food. Food is not controlling her, she is controlling food.
Mm. That's something. Now, so was she just eating those things out of habit or um
I mean, I mean, she's not even conscious. I mean, most people not even conscious what they are eating. They just eat.
yeah, that's true.
So once
Okay.
they once,
So it's like a
what
matter of sometimes of convenience too.
that's true.
It's like, hey, you got to eat something, you're just doing it, not even thinking about what you're eating. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
conscious eating is one very powerful tool.
Mm.
So when you
That's
get
good.
into identifying the textures and the taste of everything, you have a mouthful of different things, and you are getting into identifying texture of every single thing, which is actually possible and doable.
Mhm.
It's just that attention that you have to give to it. That's all.
Mhm.
And once you start doing it, there are n number of benefits. One is you start eating slower.
Mhm.
That's a big benefit.
Mhm.
Second is you chew more. That's again a big benefit because it is said 50% of your digestion happens in your mouth.
Mhm. Mhm.
It can happen only if you are chewing it properly.
Mhm.
And then the rest 50% is the job of the stomach.
Mhm.
But the challenge with overweight people, they shovel the food
Mhm.
5 minutes and they are done.
Mhm.
It's not possible that way
Mhm.
because you have not chewed it, and I mean, the 50% part of digestion, it has to happen in the mouth, and the remaining 50% the stomach does it. The challenge is the mouth is not doing that job of 50% digestion. Poor stomach, it does not have the capacity to do the whole thing,
Right.
and the food remains undigested, resulting in n number of challenges that these people are going to face over time.
Mm.
Weight is just one of them.
Yeah, that's good. Now, so it sounds to me like we should be not just thinking about um, some of the times that we eat and things like that, but thinking about, on a plate, having a lot of variety with the textures can also help us at each meal
Very
with
true.
eating healthier because you are introducing, so like something with me with oatmeal, I love to have granola and raisins and sometimes apples in it. So blueberries or whatever. So
That's true.
it's kind of good to mix the textures because you're able to enjoy it. It helps you to eat slower and you really get full um,
That's true.
faster because of the all the different layers or textures that you add with that meal.
That's true. That's very
Hmm.
true. And she and and about people who are busy, and like they grab a burger or they grab a coffee, or and they are always in a rush, and they are always driving. While driving they have a burger or they have a coffee. They can always have a fruit while driving. Why
Hmm.
burger?
Right.
You have an apple while driving. You have a banana while driving.
Mhm. So true. Now,
I mean,
so
see,
what about
it's easy.
yeah? It's like you said, it's a lifestyle. It's making that preparation ahead of time.
That's true.
Same thing with snacking, so putting healthy snacks in a Ziploc bag, it takes extra work
Yeah,
because the convenient things are not the healthy things.
that's
So
true.
you're going to have to inconvenience yourself, so to speak, to make the packages of things that are going to serve you later on.
Very
you
true.
know, amongst some of these habits and things. So, what
That's
about
it.
coffee and some of these beverages and stuff? How are we getting it wrong with some of them?
Come again, please.
I said, what about coffee and some beverages and things of that nature? How are we even getting it wrong with some of those items?
See, the challenge with beverages is like I always tell people there are no forbidden foods other than what comes in packing, and they are always processed food, right? And when it comes to beverages, like you have beverages that you cook. It can
Mhm,
be tea, it can be coffee, that but not which comes from the market in bottles.
mm,
They are loaded. I mean, if you get a diet thing from the market, like this is a diet drink, it does not have sugar.
mhm,
Then why does it taste sweet? It tastes sweet, yes, it does not have sugar, but they have some chemicals into it
mhm,
which are worse than sugar.
mm, mhm,
Out of all the clients I work with, the biggest addiction that I've come across is the drinks, the beverages, the bottled drinks that people have. I mean, the refrigerators are filled with it.
mhm, mhm. That's good. So really, we should be thinking about, because I've heard this before. Whatever kind of juice that you would like,
Right?
grabbing that fruit instead of the juice.
That's true.
Mhm.
You want to have a fruit juice, like you get it in a tetra pack from the market. It's
Mhm.
always processed. And then there are a few companies who give real natural juice without any additives, but there are just few of them, and they are at a higher, I mean, higher priced tech products.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? The rest, all they have additives and they are processed, and anything that is processed, any food which comes from the market, is not good for body. It's a thumb rule.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this is one aspect of weight. This
Mhm.
is one, and then there is another aspect of weight,
Mhm.
which is entirely related to your mind and your thinking.
Mhm.
See, for me, I mean, if you go Google for it, like I don't need to, I'll not get into detailing of it. You just go Google for something like uh, like psychiatric ailments
Mhm.
related to food, or psychiatric reasons for overeating. You'll come
Mhm.
across the Psychiatry Association of United States website. You will come across the Psychiatry Association of UK website. You will come across several websites related to psychiatry, and they will all talk of three psychiatric ailments, and they are all related to overeating.
Wow.
So people overeat because they are mentally sick,
Mhm.
and then they are forced not to eat. Now just think of the struggle these people go through. They need a shift here
Mhm.
because they are overeating because of the problem they are facing here.
Mm.
It's a way of thinking, it's a way of being,
Mhm.
which ensures they eat more. And then these poor people are told not to eat or eat less. And think of the struggle these people go through. My
Mhm.
experience, 80% of people they overeat because they are facing this challenge.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is why people bounce back, because this challenge is not solved.
Mhm.
Or else when they lose weight, they are not going to bounce back. Why do they bounce back? They bounce back because their psychological issues have never been, taken care of. They are the same. So after losing weight, by following any type of diet, that is what, eating less. You don't need to follow any diet. You just cut your food intake by 25%. You start losing weight. At least 2 pounds in 30 days. That's for sure. Cut it by 25%. 2 pounds in every 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing because a lot of people, once you begin to make different food choices, the portion sizes are something that you notice are way off balance. I mean, you look at some of these fast foods, it's like you have this big, huge beverage that is enough for three or four people. Or, the size of the burger, that's like two different meals in one. And
Yep,
we become accustomed to these larger portions that it doesn't really take that much to fill you up once you begin to eat healthier.
that's true. See, what
Mhm,
happens is uh, the size of the burger is big. It's like what you say, two portions in one meal.
mhm,
But that's a strategy to sell more. People should understand that. It's a well-defined strategy to sell more and make more money.
mhm,
If the size of the burger is really small, I mean the pricing has also got to be really less.
mhm.
If it's a big burger, they can charge more. It's a strategy to make more money, and I mean people should understand this.
Yeah,
Share the burger between the two of you rather than having one each.
because it
If
makes you
they are,
feel like you've got more value for what you're
yeah,
spending.
if if
Yeah,
if they are smart in selling, we should be smart in buying and consuming.
I love that. You're right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So this has definitely been some great insight, and I hope that people are taking notes because this is something that, when you're dealing with the mindset, it is, I love the way you put it with asking different questions and evoking different behavior because it comes from the questions. It is the mindset shift that takes place when you take that time to reflect, why am I eating this? If you are desiring to have more energy and you notice that you're still eating the same things and you don't have any energy, why are you not modifying your diet? Why are you not modifying how you sleep or how you work out? If you're not motivated to do the treadmill, why are you not walking or doing something else? We think that it's always one way to do something without exploring some of the different options that might actually work for us. So, I mean, some great, great insight. So, tell everybody the best way for them to get a hold of you.
Get a hold of it.
Mhm. Get a hold of
Hmm.
you.
Get a hold of me. Fine. The best way to get connected to me
Yeah.
uh, is my name is on the screen. That's Mithilesh Sugar.
Mhm.
You can, I mean, if you put the full name,
Mhm.
you search for the full name, you will get me. There is no
Love
other
that.
Mithilesh Sugar in the world. You can go to Facebook and you search for Mithilesh Sugar. You go to LinkedIn, search for Mithilesh Sugar.
Mhm.
And I know one thing for sure: there is no Mithilesh Sugar. Like there is Mithilesh something else,
Mhm.
the last name, but Mithilesh Sugar there is only one in the whole world, and you will bump into me. That's easy.
That is awesome. Love that. And
Thank
so
you.
what yeah, what that is, I mean, we got a lot of people in the world. So that's just phenomenal that you're the only one. So that's a special place to be. So um in conclusion, what are the final words that you would give us today when it comes to weight loss or just anything about it being the new year, whatever you feel led to share as your final thoughts?
Fine. See, the biggest challenge for me that people face is what I understand is overeating. That is the biggest challenge people face. Now, people overeat because they eat unconsciously, get into a habit of eating consciously. I know of people who who eat and they are not even aware that they are eating. I mean, just they are just going through some thoughts, and they open up a packet and they start eating, and they don't even know that they are eating. They are engrossed in that thought. They are thinking about something, maybe the past or the future, or worrying or whatever, or they are stressed or they are overwhelmed, whatever. They are in that state of mind and they eat and they are not even aware that they are eating. So be consciously aware that you are eating. The biggest challenge, this is what people face. People eat to satisfy their emotions. That's called emotional eating. Again, that's overeating. You are eating more than what your body needs. The biggest challenge people face is binging. They binge. It's a mindset. That's an overeating. People binge. I have worked with people like they binge, and in that state where they are binging, in that half an hour they consume 1,000 calories. And then what is going to happen with that 1,000 calories? It's gone in the body. And then they feel guilty. They feel depressed. I've come across clients who cry at the night because they've binged during the day. They feel so guilty. That's a lot of struggle. That struggle with food. Your relationship with food has gone totally dysfunctional. It has gone haywire. That's the prime reason for weight. You need to be in control. You should be experiencing freedom around your thoughts and feelings with food. You should be able to choose your food. You should not you should not be eating certain foods unconsciously. No, that's where the relationship has gone wrong. And when the relationship goes haywire, the result is misery. Whether it is relationship with spouse, or kids, or parents, or friends, or food. Relationship going haywire always results in misery.
Right. Right.
So the biggest challenge is mindset. People consistently and continuously keep on struggling with their thoughts around food. The prime reason for weight. You look at naturally thin people. They eat anything, they eat everything. There is no struggle. They are absolutely indecisive with their choice of food. Overweight people, they exercise a lot of discipline around their choice over food. Then rather this overweight people should get thinner, and those thin people, they should get overweight. But it's other way around. Why? Because naturally thin people have a wonderful relationship, very functional relationship with food. They don't feel guilty about food. They don't get guilty about their body. They don't feel guilty about overeating. Overweight people, dysfunctional relationship with food body. They feel guilty about eating in spite of exercising all the discipline. And people say, around the world, like I've seen people talking of like overweight, you should discipline yourself. But for me, overweight people are always more disciplined than naturally thin people because they are putting in efforts. Naturally thin people, they don't put any efforts. They do anything, they do everything, they eat everything, they do eat anything, they eat anytime, but still they are thin. It's a relationship that you share with your body, with food. This relationship, when it is functional, it becomes functional when you start enjoying food. I mean, for me, if you have something right in front of you and you are in two minds, I am not allowed to have this. This is a lot of calories,
Mhm.
and that struggle. You eat it and then you feel guilty about it. Rather, eat it, enjoy it, and forget it.
Right. Mhm.
That will at least get you into a functional relationship with food.
Right. Mhm.
At least the struggle ends there.
Mhm.
It's all about how you think and feel. It's that, I mean, what you eat has got nothing to do. I come from a very simple line. The philosophy that I work with is very simple. People are not fat because of what they are eating. People are fat because of what they are thinking. What I just talked about is all about how you think and feel around food.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's how I look at things. And I have many people who lost weight when they shift their mindset and they start, aligning themselves with this one line, and they start enjoying food and they lose weight.
Mhm.
Making those small shifts in the lifestyle and start enjoying food, life is wonderful.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's how I look at it. And that is what I think everyone should strive to achieve.
Mhm.
That's where you enjoy. See, food for me is something which is meant to be enjoyed.
Mhm.
The more you enjoy food, the more you get the nutritional value out of it.
Mhm.
It is something to be enjoyed,
Mhm.
not something to be struggled with. It's a mindset, it's a way of looking at food
Mhm.
that makes a huge difference.
Mhm. I love it. Yeah, this is great stuff. So, again, I just want to thank you. This is some very insightful way to think about it. And, even just listening to the things that you are discussing, it is not a quick fix.
Yeah.
So often we think, oh, I'm going to get on this diet or I'm going to start working out. But based on this being a mindset shift, I love that because you go into the goal and objective with a realistic mindset about how long it's going to take. You don't just change your mind quickly, about doing certain things. It's a process, like you were saying. You have to set an alarm. You have to go through a reprogramming, so to speak, and that doesn't happen overnight. And
It's a
there are baby steps to it. So I'm hoping everybody is conscious of that because anything that you desire that is a 180 from where you're at, it's going to take you a journey to get there. And so I love the fact that you were able to bring this up because, as we embark on a new year, we've got the whole year to accomplish a goal a lot of times, but we want to try to get it done in 6 weeks or 9 weeks or something like that. But this is a journey, as you said, with it being a lifestyle, even something as simple as yoga, that just was mind altering for me because, you think of it as an exercise. You don't think about it as a lifestyle, but just some great insights. So I want to thank you again for coming on. And again, I encourage everybody to reach out to Metelish. It's obvious just from this conversation, we can't even begin to dive deeper in some of these topics because we just have to get to the surface layer, which is that mindset. And that takes time. And, just as he mentioned, he's a performance coach. And anything with coaching, you just don't go to a coach one time. Think about it even with athletics. You don't go to a coach once a season and think you're going to play the game and perform to your optimal level with seeing the coach one time. You have to go to practices in between games and all these things throughout the whole season. So be mindful of that. So thanks everybody again for watching, and thank you again, Metellus, for being here. And I encourage you all to reach out to him and be successful this year with your New Year's resolutions when it comes to weight by getting a performance coach, being mindful of how you're eating in the long haul, and taking some really strategic measures to have the outcome that you're working towards. So
And
thanks, you
thank you
guys.
so much. Thank you so much for inviting and and giving me the opportunity to talk to your audience,
Mhm,
because this is something so required. Almost half of the world is struggling with food,
mhm,
and that's what I'm seeing all around. I'm in India and I see the same here, and in the US I know it's the same.
yeah, mhm,
I think this is the need of the hour, and there should be more people like me. That is also what I feel, who should be talking about this, and who should be taking this message to a larger audience.
absolutely.
And my request to all the audiences, if you can connect me to more platforms where I can go and I can give this message to a
Mhm,
bigger audience. This is the need for our people actually needs this understanding, because weight is all about mindset.
mhm,
100% it is all about mindset. Shifting the mindset, and shifting, because shifting lifestyle is also a mindset. Your food
mhm,
habits is a mindset. Your overeating is mindset.
mhm,
Everything is mindset.
mhm.
And once you work on it, you stop overeating, you start enjoying food, you start enjoying life. That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Absolutely. You are so welcome. So you guys heard it here. If you have any stages, platforms, different places that you could give Metellus the opportunity to spread this message about, weight loss being a mindset shift, please reach out to him because he would be happy to share more insight with more audiences so we can all begin to take control when it comes to food. So, thank you guys again for watching. Happy New Year to you all. And we will see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye bye.